Good morning, everybody. A little bit later than usual, but here to talk about today's K-Prop slate. So Spin Doc here. Welcome to another edition of the Spin Zone. Appreciate y'all being with us. Appreciate y'all being here. And got three pitchers to talk about today. As always, we got some review from last night to go through. There were some things that I saw that I wanted to share with everybody. And I do have some official show plays to give you for today's slate. So with that in mind, first thing, if you've watched this show, you know what we always do. We always review last night. It's something that I do religiously when it comes to my own capping. It's something that I do, and I think that everybody should do. Always go back, review whether you won, whether you lost, whether you crushed it, whether you got crushed. Review, and see where you landed. So we did have we did have a couple things happen last night. Number one is that I talked about Paul Skeens and talked about how he is on my no under list for pitchers just because of the kind of pitcher he is. But I also said, based on some impending weather situations, you might want to just pass on that one. You might want to just kick that one to the side. So they did get the game in. The weather did hold off. However, Skeens failed to hit, only got 6 through 6 innings. Now, he didn't necessarily pitch bad. It wasn't even necessarily that he had a bad start. Overall, got the win, 1 earned run, didn't walk anybody, 6 strikeouts. It was more of a complete pitching performance than it was a strikeout performance. And I've seen a few of these from Paul Skeens over the actually towards the end of last year and even to start this year, is that becoming a more complete pitcher and getting strikeouts when they're there, and obviously using it as a weapon of his, but not just being a guy that's going to go up there and throw 98 miles per hour all the time and just gas. So that's something that you have to look at with Paul Skeens, because the man has such a diverse array of pitches, and he can have games where he can strike out 10, 20, to 10 or 11 if he needs to. But him becoming a more complete pitcher means that he can go deeper in games. It also means that he's not the kind of guy that is going to have to go out there and just throw gas all the time and only last 4 1/3 innings and K 10 guys. I know that's what like some people would like to see, but that's not really good for his longevity as a pitcher. And so we are kind of seeing Paul Skeens grow up before our very eyes and become a really a more complete pitcher. And so don't worry, like he can still run the gas up. He can still get the Ks when he needed to. But the combination of the game script last night with the score, with the Pirates winning handily, and with Skeens just really pitching an overall good game, meant he didn't have to strike guys out. And so he's still on my no under list, meaning whenever he pitches, I will look only at his over prop. And if his over prop doesn't make sense, then I'll just pass and understand that usually there's like 20 or 25 more pitchers to go that day. So I talked about the heavy lean that I had on Tarik Skubal for the over. That hit pretty easily. He torched the Brewers, marked him for 9, and kind of did it with ease too. Skubal had a really good start. His fastball and changeup placement are just brilliant this year. So he's a guy that he's also on a no under list for me for a lot of the same reasons. And he's a guy that I look for home road anywhere. It's got to be an over for him. Last but not least was Dylan Cease. And, I had talked about how this line looked right and how maybe there was a lean on the over, because of the additional use of his changeup. It would depend on the Cubs lineup. I had Cease ready to roll for VIP, and I had it charted. I had the chart I showed you guys last week for Jesus Luzardo. I had one of those ready. I had everything ready to go. And I looked at it one more time, and it just didn't look right. Some of the changeup whiff percentage with the actual lineup in construction, it didn't look right. It didn't feel right. And that's something where I can tell you all the math in the world. I can tell you all of the math, all of the numbers, all of the everything. But if your gut is telling you, like maybe this isn't the right play, or maybe this isn't the right time to make it, don't force yourself to do it. I always feel better about a prop that I don't give out or don't take that wins versus one that I do give out that loses. And so at the last minute, we bailed. We bailed on Cease. And for the first 3 or 4 innings, it looked like it was a dumb decision because he had 5 strikeouts and like 40 some pitches. And then only got 2 after that, went almost 100 pitches, and then got pulled after Crow Armstrong got a single off of him in the 6th. When he came out for the 6th with 6 strikeouts, I said to myself the same thing. I said, the second he allows a base runner, he's coming out. And he got 2 outs, got close to 100 pitches. The first base runner he allowed, he got the yank. So unfortunately, Cease got the hook last night for the over bettors, but it was a good lesson in, even if I say something on this show, even if your favorite capper, like if it's not me, if it's whoever you follow religiously, they're your money guy. If whatever they give out, if the more you think about it, look at it, it just doesn't make sense, it just doesn't feel right, don't put your money on it. Okay. I will tell everybody this, is that I'll give you all the information that I possibly can. I will give you all of the information like the way I see things. If somebody sees things differently and you don't think that it's a worthwhile bet, then you shouldn't take it. I would never advise anybody to just blindly tail somebody just because they said stuff. I think that, if you wanted to, like, if what we say makes enough sense, then okay, that makes enough sense. And that was kind of what I was looking at and kind of what I was thinking too. But if it doesn't feel right, don't do it. So I would even say that for myself. I will give you all of the information, all of the best looks, best everything that I can based on the research that I've done. And I'm sure that you all have other cappers that would do the same thing. But again, it's your money at risk, not theirs. And so if it doesn't feel right, then don't do it. The only thing that I would advise, and I advise this to everybody, is, people talk about, like, I hear about like books set traps, and that's how they make people money, and they mess with lines. Yeah. And they do all those things. The number one thing that costs people money in this game, and I can tell you this unequivocally, is FOMO. FOMO being fear of missing out, is that you're on 3 plays and then you see, but this guy's been hot and he's on these 2, so I got to get on those 2 as well. Oh, but this is like this is my regular tennis guy, and this guy's on this tennis match, so I got to get on that one too. And by the time you're done, you have 10 plays going, and for 10 completely different cappers, systems, logic, everything. It's not always a recipe for success. So that's why I would tell you is that you'll feel a lot better if you don't make a play and it wins versus if you do make a play, just so you're not like on the outside looking in and it loses. And I promise you that there will be 400,000 other things to bet on the following day, the following hour. In some cases, if you bet live, the following minute or second. So there's always more things to bet on. So that's my TED Talk for today. I'll get off my podium and we will get on with the business of the day. Before we do, though, got to say what's up to Go Get 'Em. Welcome in, my guy. Always great to have you. Thank you for joining. Mom Who Bets, always with us as well. Happy Tuesday to you as well. Appreciate you being here. And Mario, always with us as well. Good morning. Thank you guys for being here with the little bit later start time today. So I do have three pitchers to talk about for you guys. Three guys to talk about, and overall, these are the three pitchers. I usually try to do this. These are the three guys that, just quite frankly, I thought would probably be three of the heavier bet guys of the day. I personally like, for my own stuff, I have some more obscure guys that I like looking at. Some guys that might be off the beaten path, but in general, I try to give people my analysis, my thoughts, my everything on who I think the heavier bet props of the day will be, and probably the most probably the more popular ones as well. So we will start with, as I'm getting the swing chart up here, we will start with Jesus Luzardo. Jesus Luzardo for the Phillies. Lefty is striking people out at an absolutely gaudy 36.2%, which is funny because that's actually down from where it was before his last start. He gets the Giants tonight. This game, first pitch is at 6:45 p.m. Most recent line on FanDuel was 6.5, the over 6.5 at plus 116, with a heavily juiced under at minus 148. All right, here's what I see when I see Luzardo. First thing is that he doesn't have enough plate appearances against the Giants to make a determination. As I've said here before, I usually use 30 at least. I like to see 50 to 60. He doesn't have that. So, but as a team, albeit with a little bit of a limited sample size, the Giants are striking out 27.7% against lefties this year, with and only walking at 7.4%. Now, the Giants have a few things that correlate pretty well with Luzardo. The first thing is that they do not make contact, or that they make contact right about league average when they chase. You can see 61.4 versus a league average of 61.7. This is where Luzardo gets his case. I talked about how some of the things that he's done this year, more specifically added his sweeper. The sweeper is his out pitch for righties and lefties. He's throwing at 25.7% of the time and getting a 45.5% whiff rate on that pitch. Now, because the Giants do chase at league average, and Luzardo needs chase to get strikeouts because his contact rate in the zone is right about pitcher average. His fastball is increasing. It has increased in velo, but it's still not really his out pitch. He's only putting guys away on his four-seamer at 10.3%. The way that Luzardo gets guys, specifically righties, is that he sets up the four-seamer up in the zone. So he typically runs it, if you're looking at a clock, in the 9 to 11 range. So he typically runs it up here, up and in, and then the sweeper runs in the 4 to 6 range, down and away. So you got two pitches that are about 10 miles apart in velo, going in completely opposite directions. Now, the four-seam fastball itself isn't anything special. It's not really anything special. It's the way that he changes directions with it and combines it with the sweeper that is special. And it's one of the reasons why he's getting so many strikeouts, because that sweeper this year has a 45.5% whiff rate. So when I look at this Giants potential lineup, which as of right now is 8-1, I think. Eight righties, one lefty. The only true lefty I can see them running against Luzardo is Jung-Hoo Lee. He is a higher contact guy as well. So I look at how often these guys are going to chase, and the guys that are projected to be in the lineup, specifically the top three with Ramos, Adams, and Lee, and I guess we can go to Chapman too. So I look at Lee. He's right about league average. I look at Adams, and he is right about league average. And I look at Chapman does not chase, and then you also have Ramos, who chases a lot but also makes contact. So you have kind of a mixed bag here. When I look at the top of this lineup, I do think that he can get Ramos. I do think that he can potentially get Adams. Lee might be tough. Chapman's a 50-50. So from there, you have about two, maybe 2.5 strikeouts. Then I go to the rest of the lineup because right now Luzardo is projected, his outs prop is projected where he's going to pitch 6 innings. So the chances are good that he will see this top 4 3 times. So I'll say 2.5. It might be 3. Wilmer Flores is a guy that he can get. So that's 4. Then you go through Matos, Bailey, Schmidt, and Fitzgerald, and I see probably about 2, maybe 2.5 strikeouts from there. So I think that the line is set pretty well correct. Now, it's a little concerning for me just from a perspective of I always assume that the books know what they're doing, is that for a guy that's been absolutely on fire striking people out against a team striking out against lefties near 30%, and have about over half their lineup are guys that make chase contact under league average, and he's at home, that we get a heavily juiced under. So I'm personally like I trust my math, I trust my capping, I trust my numbers. What I also trust is that the billion-dollar industry that has algorithms that would make our heads spin know what the hell they're doing. So I'm going to watch this line and I'm going to see where it goes. I'm going to see where it lands on. I want to see what the final lineup construction is for this one, because Luzardo's strikeout percentage this year against lefties has been absurd. He hasn't faced a ton of them, but he struck half of them out. So I want to see if they put any other lefties besides Lee in the lineup. I also want to see if they move Lee down. They don't typically against left-handed pitchers, but I want to see if they move him down a little bit, because purely Luzardo's strikeout percentage against lefties tells me he can get Jung Ho Lee as well. So right now, if I'm playing this one, especially if I'm playing Luzardo at home, I'm not playing an over, or I'm not playing an under here. I'm playing an over or nothing, because this guy has just been all world so far. So what I might want to do, if you don't want to wait or you can't wait until the lineup comes out, is put him down to 6+ and run him with somebody or something else that you like. I believe right now the 6+ right now for Luzardo on DK is sitting at -160. I wouldn't play that straight up. I typically don't play those straight up and pay the juice for him. So I think that there's enough potential, even with the projected lineup, where he can get 6. I'm just I always get nervous about when a pitcher who has just been on fire like this gets a plus money for a total that he's been at or near, and he gets it at home. It's almost like they're just saying, oh, please bet me. Oh, please bet me. Please bet me. And it screams hook. So I'm going to see what the final lineup construction is to see if I want in on it. I'm not 100% sure yet, but if you're going to play it, I would feel much, much more comfortable with taking this one down to the 6+ at the -160, because there's definitely a potential for 6, regardless of any lineup that the Giants could throw out there tonight. All right. I wanted to give a shout out to Luke Murphy, who's always with us, joined after we went through the chat. So Luke Murphy, always appreciate it. Always appreciate the love. Always appreciate you being here. Thank you, my guy. Appreciate it. All right. Next up, love talking about this guy. I love this guy. This is my boy, Big Jack. Big Jack Flaherty, who is striking people out at a 31.8% clip, gets the Brewers tonight at 7:40 p.m. And Jack is just, man, he's back with the staff that fixed his mechanics. If you don't know that story, it was when he signed with the Tigers last year, and went through spring training, the Tigers pitching staff noticed a few things in his delivery that they felt were too mechanical. They asked him why he was doing it, and he said that was how he trained his body to pitch after he came back from all the injuries he had in St. Louis, so that he wouldn't re-tear some of the things that he had hurt, and re-injure himself. And so they got with the trainer. They figured out that his body had probably recovered to a standpoint where he could throw normally, and they changed his motion and changed his mechanics, where he was using his big body and his big athleticism more to throw than pitching mechanically, and you saw the results. So he's back with that same pitching staff, and the results are obvious. He is reunited with the Tigers, and I was so glad to see that signing. Been trying my damnedest to get him in my fantasy baseball league, but the owner won't budge. Surprise, surprise. So, not unless I want to give him 2 all-stars, et cetera. But I love Big Jack, and I love how he pitches. I love the person that he is. For those that don't know, he's a very socially conscious person. He does a lot of activism and a lot of volunteering and stuff like that. Just a good dude. So he's a guy that you want to see succeed. But he gets the Brewers tonight, and so I always have to stop myself when Flaherty pitches, because I'm always ready to just like jump like hell all over his over, just because I love the guy so much. But there is logic behind it, because we are very, very have a strong lean towards the over here. And I think that you can actually even play it now if you want as a show play. So the Brewers only striking out 22.4% against right-handed pitchers. However, they have not exactly seen the cream of the crop, especially over the last little bit when it comes to righties. Flaherty does have enough pitching plate appearances to make a determination against this lineup, primarily Christian Yelich, but he has seen this lineup 74 times and is striking them out at a 24.3% clip. Now, keep in mind, this was when he was back with St. Louis primarily. A lot of these guys have not seen the quote-unquote new Jack Flaherty with his new delivery. Flaherty, pretty well league average in the zone. He's about league average when it comes to allowing contact in the zone. His big thing is that he gets guys to chase, and they don't make contact when they do. 43.6% chase contact, which is one of the best marks of all starting pitchers in baseball. You look at his metrics this year, and you look at his peripherals, and you see that while the velo on some of his pitches is down slightly, you also have where on some of his out pitches, like the curveball and like the slider, you see that the movement is up on those things. Spin is down, velo's down. He's still striking guys out like crazy, but the movement is up. And so far, to the tune of with his slider and with his curveball, both of those are significantly above league average, especially with horizontal break on both of them. So Flaherty does have, I believe it's a 13.8 inch, or I'm sorry, 13.8 inch horizontal break and 55.4 inches of vertical drop. Both of those are very, very healthy, and that's how he's getting guys to strike out. He gets them to chase, and they don't make contact when they do. So you go and you look at the Brewers, and you do see that while they don't chase very much and they make contact slightly above league average, here's what they don't do. They don't swing in the zone, only 65.3%. And when I look at this lineup tonight, what I see from the Brewers, which right now is 5 lefties and 4 righties. Flaherty is striking out lefties at a 24.4% clip versus righties at a 30.8%. So, but what I see from this Brewers lineup is that I see a lot of guys who have some very, very low swing rates in the zone, and so who are projected to be in this lineup tonight. So I see Garrett Mitchell is significantly under average, even though he makes a lot of contacts. Sal Frelick is under average. I don't really count him as a strikeout potential because he's such a high contact guy. But I see that Ortiz is significantly under average. I see that Rhys Hoskins is significantly under average. And here's why that matters. Is that Jack Flaherty is striking guys out in pitchers counts right around 50%. That's actually better than Skubal last night. So because of the movement and the drop that curveball has and some of the horizontal movement that his slider has, is that if you're going to stand in and you're going to take pitches early, which is what the Brewers do, and which is what right now over 2/3 of their lineup right now that's projected tonight, you're going to put yourself in that position. Flaherty can torch you. Flaherty can absolutely torch you. And so his strikeout percentage, especially when he's throwing those out pitches at in a pitcher's count, is just absolutely incredible. It's absolutely incredible. Behind the plate tonight as well, we get Scott Berry. Scott Berry is overall a pretty neutral ump, not a whole lot to discern from that. So you need Flaherty to be hitting the zone with his four-seam fastball. If he can do that, it sets these guys up for this out pitch. And you have some pretty crazy whiff percentages for a lot of the guys towards the top of the lineup for these Brewers. And it's a case where even though he's on the road, and even though I do always consider Sal Frelick to be a dead spot because of how high contact he is, there's still 7+ potential across this lineup, especially if this is who they run. This is a guy who can very easily go out and can get 8. He can possibly even get 9, even after the Brewers struck out so much last night. Remember, they're also going lefty to righty. That's hard for a team, especially power lefty against crafty righty. It's a hard switch for the guys, especially when you only have a few of them that have some significant history against him. And the guys that do, he has also struck out reasonably well. So you have Yelich at almost a 26% strikeout rate. You have Bowers, if he's in, is at a 40% strikeout rate. Garrett Mitchell's only faced him 4 times, but has struck out twice. And then you have a few other guys that are like 1 for 2. Really, the only guy in this lineup that is projected to be in that has a reasonable number of plate appearances that he hasn't gotten has been Contreras, who Flaherty hasn't gotten him in 8 plate appearances. So you take him and you take Frelick out, but then you add in everybody else, and there's the potential for 7 here. So if you, I'm personally, as I always do, waiting for the final lineup to come out, but the over 6.5 right now at +114, I wouldn't be opposed to throwing a little money on that one, to throwing like 1/3 of a unit, a half a unit. Wouldn't be opposed to that right now. I wouldn't be opposed to taking him down to 6. You can actually combine right now. You can combine Luzardo 6+, and you can combine Flaherty 6+, and you can do that on DraftKings right now for +164. So you can combine them for +164. If you want even more safety, you can combine Flaherty 5+ because he's on the road. Whenever I'm doing that, I will sometimes just take the road pitcher down just slightly. So you can do 5+ for Flaherty and 6+ for Luzardo at a +111. So still plus money. That's always just my delineation point whenever I'm combining pitchers and doing any kind of parlay with anything. I never do a juice parlay ever. I don't do parlays very much anyway, but I never, ever do a juice parlay. It has to be +101 or better. Otherwise, it's just an absolute no-go. So +111 for Flaherty for 5 and Luzardo for 6 if you want in. Or if you want a little bit more risk on the number, you can absolutely take Flaherty at the 6.5. There aren't many other lineups that the Brewers can put in that would make me want to say like, oh my God, stay far away from this one. So before we go on, want to welcome in Roger Mizuka with us for a while. Thank you, my guy. Appreciate it. You laddered Skubal all the way up to 9. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. It was a heck of a good night. Yep. I love it. Love it. Love it. All right. Last but not least is Mr. Hunter Brown. K'ing people at a 27.7% K rate. And he gets the Cardinals tonight at 7:45 p.m. Eastern time. Right now, the most recent line before I went on was the FanDuel was hanging basically the same juice for both sides for -113 for the over and for the under. And that's pretty well what it is across the board here. So, all right, let's get into Hunter Brown. So Brown has started to really become a more complete pitcher this year. His velo is still up on his four-seamer, averaging 96 last year, 97.3 this year. He still hasn't hit that mythical 100 yet. I've watched a few Astros games, and the announcers have talked to him a couple times, and they've asked him if he's hit 100. If he's hit 100 in a game, and he gets mad at himself and says no, and he's so like this kid's a gamer. Like he wants to hit 100 in a game. So he wants to hit 100 on the gun in a game. His four-seam fastball is what he throws the majority of the time. It's about a third of his pitches, maybe a little bit more. His main out pitch, he's got a few of them. To lefties, it's a changeup, and to righties, it is a combination of a knuckle curve and a slider. Sometimes it's almost like it's almost like he combines them and slurves it. So if you've ever watched Jose Barrios pitch when he's got his slurve working, it almost looks like some of them look the same. It's like some of them look like it's a slurve. When he does throw the pure curveball, this is a 12-6 curveball. This is a down to the bottom curveball, which really can confuse hitters when he runs his fastball and his cutter up in the 11-1 range. So he'll run these up high at 96. He'll come down with the curveball almost at a straight 12-6 at about 84. It can really confuse hitters. So far this year, Brown doesn't have enough plate appearances against the Cardinals. In fact, he has none. So this will be the first time that he's facing them. Brown, his big thing that he's struggled with this year is allowing chase contact. So when his curve is working, it can drop straight down and just drop off the table. What's been happening too often this year is that it's dropping like way before it gets to the plate, and in some cases bouncing. And that makes it really, really easy to take. The best 12-6 curves are the ones where it looks like almost like a changeup, and then right before it or a sinker, and right before it hits the plate, that's when the drop happens. So the drop is happening. It's just happening way too early this year. So it makes it easy for guys to take. And when he's trying to throw his other pitches around the strike zone, he's allowing a ton of chase contact at 70.7%. So far for tonight, I do see that Brown's innings prop is set right at 18, meaning he's going to go 6 innings. And so I look for what is the chase contact of the lineup that he's going to be facing. Well, as a team, the Cardinals, you can see 2% above league average. They chase right about at league average. And their overall projected lineup for tonight is going to be pretty lefty laden. So right now, the projected is 5 lefties, 4 righties, with 4 of the first 6 hitters as lefties, with Nootbaar, Burleson, and Donovan. I'm not convinced that this is going to be the actual construction of the lineup, but let's just assume that it is. And we will look at the chase contact for the guys that are going to be in. So I look at Nootbaar. He's got solid chase contact. I look at Burleson, and he's got solid chase contact. I look at Donovan. He's got solid chase contact. You see where I'm going with this. I look at Arenado. He's got solid chase contact. I look at Nolan Gorman. He's slightly under average. And then you get to the bottom of the lineup, which he might see a few of these guys 3 times. But I don't really see a whole lot of guys from a chase contact perspective, with the exception of Pegas, who chases a lot and doesn't make contact when he does, and Contreras, who is projected to be in the 5 hole. Other than those 2 guys, I don't really see a whole lot of issues with either chasing too much or chase contact. So then I go and I look at the whiff on a 4-seam fastball, and this Cardinals team is a team that can hit a pure 4-seam fastball. They can hit heat. They can hit fastballs that are in the 96 to 97, et cetera range. So when I go up and down this lineup, if this is who they're going to put out there, I'm having a real hard time getting to 6 for Hunter Brown. I also see that now, granted, the opponent is playing a role in this because he was at a 6.5 last time. That was against Seattle, where he did pitch to contact. I'm not going to ding him for that because I think that that was partially because the Astros bullpen was so taxed at that point that they kind of had to have him eat up innings. So overall for tonight, though, I'm personally not seeing this. I'm not seeing 6 strikeouts in this lineup if this is who they run. So if you need to run something right now, and I will make this an official show play, is Hunter Brown under 5.5 strikeouts at -113, anywhere in the -10 to -113 range is probably going to be just fine. And I just don't see the ability for him to get guys to whiff outside of the zone to the level that he would need to. I also see there's more than half this lineup is under league average in chasing. And Hunter Brown's problem has always been when he gets out of games is he racks up his pitch count and he can walk himself out of games. Hasn't been as much of a problem this year because he is only carrying a 4.6% walk rate, which is one of the best marks in his career. But part of that is because he is allowing so much contact in the zone. So also helping the cause here is Quinn Walcott is behind the plate. He is slightly hitters, slanted umpire. Strikeouts in games that he umpires can go down by as much as 3%. So just the umpire for that one, just a little cherry on top. It's not like my delineation point, but just a little cherry on top. So I think that if you want to play this one pre-game, I think that you can go with the under on this one. And if you want, you can also wait until the lineup comes out. What I would look for if you're going to do that is make sure that Pegas is down in the lineup as he should be. And it would be really nice because sometimes they do bat Contreras up top or close to the top. It would be really nice if Contreras is in the 5-hole or below as projected. Those would be my 2 things that I'm really looking for. There's nobody else in this lineup that is of significant concern. So, and Cover King saying he's on 11-1 run. That's awesome. Welcome in, my guy. Season's starting to feel better. Yeah, that's a good point. April 15th, not only is it tax day, but it's also open it up day for me. If you're in VIP, you know this. Not that we automatically go from half unit plays to full unit plays, but I am strictly fanatical about only playing half unit plays up through April 15th. I need every pitcher that I am going to look to put a full unit on and tell you to put a full unit on to have at least 3 starts under his belt, and preferably at least 1 start at home and 1 start on the road. I need to see how these guys perform. Case in point, Christopher Sanchez striking out the world. His new velo, everybody was going gaga over it. You saw what happened out in St. Louis. Road Christopher Sanchez striking guys out is still a thing. So question from Luke Murphy, Max Fried against the Royals, and he's at 5.5. Yeah, the Royals are not your just straight up avoid team from a strikeout perspective anymore. Specifically, I said this to VIP last night. Salvi Perez goes through phases where he's like kind of disciplined, and then he goes back to being a K machine. He's a K machine right now. His strikeout percentage over the last week has just been gaudy. It's been terrible. So the Royals as a team have actually been hacking at a lot of stuff, and you can see there on the swing metrics is that they do chase above league average. Now, their season average is 66.1, which is well above league average from a chase contact perspective, but that is not what they've been at lately. So I would have a lean on the over for Fried. I think if you want to take Fried down to 5+ and combine him with any of the stuff that we talked about tonight, you could certainly do that. You can even, if you even wanted to take a little risk, you could take you could take Flaherty down to 5, Luzardo down to 6, and Fried down to 5. And that could get you some plus money to the tune of, let me just take Fried down to 5 on this one I'm building on DraftKings. And that would get you plus 188. So Fried and Flaherty at 5, Luzardo at 6 gets you plus 188. You could do that. You could even, if you wanted even less risk, you could take one of them down, even one more, and have a little less risk and a little bit lesser payout. I think any of those would work. So, all right. I think that will do it for today. I appreciate everybody tuning in late. We're back at the normal time tomorrow at 10 a.m. Eastern. If you haven't yet, please give this a like, give it a share, give it some love. Love doing this for you guys. Appreciate all the love. And if you haven't yet, subscribe to Daily Bread Network. We would love to have you be able to view all the content that's on there. Best of luck if you're tailing anything we talked about today. We'll see you tomorrow.